Listen, your mom probably wasn't right about everything, but she was right about the fact that you should eat your vegetables. And that's no secret, of course, but let me get specific about how you can do that, because your health absolutely depends on it. And it's no stretch to say that vegetables can literally save your life. In fact, one study showed that eating at least 5 servings of vegetables and fruit per day is associated with a 36% lower risk of dying from any cause. So if you're like most people, you've got to eat more vegetables each day. And although that study included fruit, I'm going to suggest that you need to eat more vegetables than fruit. And a smaller amount of fruit that you should be eating should be low glycemic fruit. But the majority of that really needs to be vegetables. Now, the first tip is to check your community's farmer market and see what's in season. It was actually at a farmer market where I discovered the vegetable called Romanesco, which is a hybrid between broccoli and cauliflower. It's like super nutritionally dense and it tastes really good. Even my 6-year-old daughter really likes it. And she also likes it because it kind of looks like a funky piece of artwork. Now, when you're at a farmer's market, you can ask the vendors how to prepare the different foods that they're selling. And if you really want to get 5 servings a day in, you're probably going to need to learn some new things. That's a good place to do that. Now, the second tip is to grow your own vegetables. You don't need lots of acres to do that. You don't need complicated tools. I mean, there's a lot of things that you can actually grow in a small pot, or in a small backyard or in a neighborhood garden. It's actually fun, and there's actually something very satisfying, about eating food that you've actually grown yourself. The third way to get more vegetables, and low glycemic fruit is to make smoothies. Because when you blend the vegetables or the fruits together, you end up breaking up the plants so that they're more bioavailable. All that fiber and the vitamins and the minerals are, they're really ready to go to work for you when you go ahead and have your smoothie. It's like the digestion process has already gotten a bit of a head start. And smoothies are, one of the best ways to consume like a lot of veggies in a short period of time. One of my go-to recipes in the morning is just to have 2 handfuls of leafy greens, along with either coconut milk or almond milk. I throw an avocado in there, a small handful of berries, to give it some a little bit of a sweeter flavor. And then I actually like to use a scoop of Super Green Foods powder. That's a product that you can check out at bodymanual.com. And I like to add that powder because, it gives you vital nutrients that, really come from unique plant sources that you're probably not going to have access to or not going to eat on a regular basis. Things like watercress and wheatgrass and aloe leaf. So it's a great product. I like to throw it in the smoothie. The fourth thing that you can do to get more creative about adding vegetables to your diet is to replace things. For example, you can add some finely chopped veggies to your soups, and you can use those to replace rice or noodles. You can also puree veggies into sauces and marinades. If you like to bake, one of the things you can do is you can add like shredded carrots or shredded zucchini to a grain-free muffin mix. And that way, it's not something that you should be eating every day, but for an occasional treat. You're able to actually add veggies to a treat. And a good way to cut carbs is by using vegetables instead of things like buns or tortillas or sandwich bread or bagels. I was actually recently at a restaurant and I ordered tacos, and they were wrapped in sliced jicama instead of a corn shell. This was something I had never thought of doing before until I saw it on the menu. It was actually really good. In fact, I liked it better than the taste of the corn shell. It's also really easy to wrap your protein, with some sprouts and like sliced avocado, and wrap them with a large chard or kale leaves. You can also use spaghetti squash or zucchini noodles, instead of pasta made from wheat or other grains. Another thing you can do is you can make pizza crust out of cauliflower. It's even pretty easy to make vegetable chips. And you can do that by slicing up some beets and carrots and kale. Just throw them onto a tray, with some coconut oil and some sea salt, and you can bake them. And if you're not ready to go as far as baking them yourself, you can replace potato chips and other unhealthy snacks with store-bought veggie chips. Just make sure to check the ingredients because, most of those will be branded to look like healthy veggie chips, but are probably made of corn or wheat or other products like that. Now, the fifth tip, to keep a steady supply of washed and chopped vegetables, that are easy to grab when you need them. You can put them in several small containers to grab so that, you can eat them when you're on the go. It takes less than like 10 minutes to wash and chop 2 or 3 days worth of servings of cucumbers, radish or celery, some carrots and some peppers. And when you're choosing your raw veggies, aim for a variety. Lots of different colors is actually a good guideline because the different color fruits and vegetables are going to have different nutrients in them. All right, so the sixth tip is to add veggies to your first meal of the day. And a lot of people don't have any veggies in their breakfast or whatever their first meal is. So it's an easy area to target for improvement, especially if you're replacing carbs like a bagel or toast. Replacing those items with vegetables will keep you off that blood sugar roller coaster. You can saute some greens in place of potatoes or toast, and you can actually add any vegetable to your eggs. The point here is, look for places to get more vegetables into your diet, and have as your target 5 to 7 servings a day. And of course, make it organic as often as possible. If there's any area that most of us can improve when it comes to our diet, it's getting vegetables, and you don't have to tell your mom that she was right, if you don't want to. Maybe next time you see her, you can just surprise her and, remind her how important it is that she eats more veggies. All right, I'll see you in the next video.